Hi everyone, I'm back with another Tech Tip for Teachers video. Today we're going to take a look at IXL. Recently, in light of the remote learning scenario that we are in, IXL has made all subjects available for us as teachers. So you may have used the math module of IXL, and some of you are using the language arts module. But let's take a look at what that looks like and how you can set up your additional classes. So when you first signed up for IXL, you got a welcome to IXL video. And it gave you a link that would allow you to create a password. And click submit. So I'm now activating the account for the test teacher. Now if let's go through the get started portion since we're just coming in. So it took me immediately to a place called the roster, which can be found by clicking on this little square with the triangle just to the right of your name. So we'll come back to this in a moment. But this is where you would add your students. Under profile and settings, you might want to choose how you want your name to be displayed. You might want to add your school. And notice that we are set up with a essentially 3-month trial of science, Spanish, social studies, as well as math and language arts. You can choose whether you'd like to receive weekly summary emails of your students and whether you'd like to hide grade levels. And if that happens, essentially the grade level becomes a letter. If there's anxiety in your classroom, virtual or actual, you might want to hide the timer that appears in some of these sections, in particular math. You can also extend audio support, which means that this allows the audio support, which normally is for K through 3 students. Let's just take a look at this. It extends audio support to grades 3 to 8 for math skills and questions in the real-time diagnostic, and always to 3rd to 5th grades for language arts. Audio is always on for those lower grade levels. So if you want to explore the settings of the different areas, you're going to click on Learning. This is where students will start. And again, we can go into language arts, science, social studies, Spanish. I'm going to go into social studies just to kind of show you what's available here. So you've got the ability to sort by grades and see all the skills, or you can go into specific topics. And this is useful when you're actually covering particular elements in your classrooms. So let's say you're studying world history. You can go in by grade level. And this is aligned to the Common Core, but it definitely relates to us as well. And let's say go into the 7th grades and want to take a look at some examples of questions on the Mesopotamian empires. So this one, for example, is a click, and there's different types of questions. In any case, you can preview here. Once the students have been working in IXL, you have the ability to take a look at some of the analytics. And if, for example, you're assigning this to students during your scheduled time, you might want to, on Zoom, for example, put the live classroom up so that you can check in with students as needed. Also note that they've now made something called an AtHome Learning Hub available if you'd like to explore some ways that you can plan to use IXL with students that are working from home. And there are some 30-minute webinars if you'd like to get a little more comfortable. So let's go back to the roster. This is where you can actually create your classes and start adding students. So all of the students should be preloaded. So let's say, for example, I want to add one of our students in 7th grade. I just start typing their last name, and then all of a sudden they will appear, and we've added them to our roster. But I also want to start using classes if I'm not already. And this allows me to create different classes and start to add students to classes so that I can kind of keep better track of students on a group level. And once they've answered some questions, use the analytics to perhaps identify some of the problem areas that you might need to review with the group. I'm going to leave it there, but I encourage you to explore this tool as one of your tools in your digital toolkit in our remote learning scenario.